Hey guys, welcome back to Puff It Loud, and welcome back to Steam Prison, where we're with Saint Yune, and he's talking about how when he eats, he feels human, which is kind of terrifying. But, I am curious to see what he has for breakfast, so let's go!
ただ安堵するだけで異質な存在であることには変わらないんだけどね。
Saint Yune. He looked human, but he was a true saint. Different. That was how the people, myself included, viewed him. I never thought Saint Yune would worry about being human.
お前はどうなの？見た感じ食が細そうだけど、ちゃんと食べてる？
I'm a little fussy, I eat normally, or I also eat a lot. Maybe, well, okay, so what if we are trying to like compare. So if he eats a lot because that's when he feels human, maybe we should be like, oh yeah, I eat a lot too, haha. Like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, because if you say I eat normally, that sounds kind of... yeah, it sounds kind of like he's not normal, which I think that's not great. Yeah, let's just do I also eat a lot. Yeah. Don't worry, I eat a lot too. Just like you, Saint Yune.
大食いって。私のことをそんな風に見てたんだ。
A glutton. I...
怒ってないからそんな顔しないで。実際、私は大食いだからね。人が食べている姿を見るのは気持ちがいいものだ。いつか一緒に動けなくなるまで食べてみたいものだ。
Oh god, he's a feeder. So bad. Saint Yune didn't pause his voracious eating as we talked. One by one, his plates were cleared, until eventually the cart was empty. They didn't even tell us what he was eating. I want to know.
ごちそうさま。さて、議会へ向かおうか。
I stacked the dishes to make the cleaning go more quickly and asked him whether he was leaving right away. You just ate. Shouldn't you rest a little?
このまま横になったら寝てしまうけどいいの？
We can't have that.
だろ？だからほら、早く行こう。
Saint Yune led the way to the assembly hall. A flood of chatter washed over us when he opened the door. As the people inside saw Saint Yune, they fell silent one by one. By the time he sat down, the place was quiet. I stood behind Saint Yune and looked around. It's been years since I was here. Last time, I stood in a corner to watch. I had a very different perspective now. I can see all their faces up close from here. Does it feel so oddly close for him as well?
これより議会を開始する。なお、本日はユネ様がいらっしゃる。皆の者、一層襟を正すように。
Can he stop screaming? And can he also sit down so he's not so close? I forgot to breathe for a moment. Of course I remembered him. Right, he's the speaker. Warner Evans. He was from a powerful family and chaired the assembly, steering the fate of our country. He was also the father of my fiancé, Fitzgerald Evans. No, former fiancé. Now that I had thought about it, all the misfortune had begun with the annulment of our engagement. To me, it was a blessing that it was annulled, but for my parents it wasn't. I don't know why it was annulled either. It confused them so much. The mysteries had only grown from then on. I had to wonder whether anything was going to be cleared up. How many times would I have to grieve and suffer? No, I need to be more positive. I hadn't been exiled, at least. My reprieve would last only for a month, but at least I had that. I was St. Yune's personal attendant, and I had to do my job. There wasn't much I was going to be able to do in the limited time I had left. But I still have to look at the future with hope. I have to trust myself. Blah 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 blah. After a couple of hours, the assembly entered a short break. A couple of hours? Lord Warner came over to St. Yune, who was gazing idly at the men assembled.
ユネ様、本日はお越しくださりありがとうございます。
別に 仕事の一環だから来ただけで感謝されるようなことではないよ。
It's so weird to see like a 50-year-old man standing next to Saint Yune who looks like he's like 12. Like, what? Lord Warner grimaced and glared at me. His face became slightly harder.
ユネ様、そのものを連れて来られるなど。
悪いことかな。彼女は付き人だ。私のそばにいるのは不自然ではないし、違法ではない。
ですが、そもそも元貴族とはいえ、親殺しの犯罪者です。にもかかわらずそばに置くなど、やはり。
うるさいな。誰を選ぼうと私の勝手だ。
Yes, tell him to shut up. Saint Yune sighed and stood up.
今日はもういいや。私は帰る。
Saint Yune, the assembly.
いいから。後のことは任せたよ。オーナー・エヴァンス。
はい。承知いたしました。
Bye, bitch.
ユネ様。
He definitely has tried to poison Yune. There's no way that he does not. Should I call him Yune instead of Yune? I don't know. What do you guys prefer? Whatever. Saint Yune, are you sure that leaving was alright?
いいんだよ。私の後ろで見ていたお前にはわかるだろ。私がいようがいなかろうが関係ないんだ。
It's true, they didn't address him once during the session. He had simply watched as the delegates talked amongst themselves. It might be a boring job, but leaving your post just because you didn't feel like being there was a mistake.
不満そうな顔だね。私が退場したのがそんなに気に食わない？あの議会は神官が参加したって事実だけで十分なんだ。神官が認可したという証明になるからね。だから最後までいる必要はない。私は部屋に戻るから昼食を持ってきて。頼んだよ。
Wow, just care about the food. He left in the direction of his quarters. Did I make him angry? I still found it difficult to understand what he was thinking. He'd been an object of devotion in my childhood, and in a way he still was. But there's more. The more I learned about him, the more my impression of him edged away from what I considered saintly. But he's still a saint. I need to remember that when I approach him. Even though he probably doesn't want to be treated like one, because everybody treats him like one. I don't know. Saint Yune was amicable when I brought him his lunch, and when I removed the dishes later on. After a long nap, we set out again, this time for his afternoon appointments. Is he just trapped in this building? He had a prayer assembly. It was a gathering of the most devout in the country, a chance for them to listen to Saint Yune.
自分を愛し、認めなさい。自分の最たる理解者は自分。目覚めの瞬間からその体朽ちるまで、あなたはその檻から離れることはできないのです。
Lord. Saint Yune's voice was the only sound in the quiet chapel. I'm surprised. He seems like a different person. His grin was nowhere to be found. He looked at the people with a stern, merciful expression. His voice was calm and soft, soothing their souls. This was the saint I had always imagined. As soon as we were back in the parlor, Saint Yune slumped into a chair and sighed. Good work, Saint Yune.
いつも思うけど、喋り続けるのって大変だ。私は物静かだから、なおさら苦労する。
Don't talk much.
そうでしょ？
Saint Yune. Yune or Yune? I don't know. I have to get used to it. Whatever. Saint Yune leaned back, giving me a wry look.
私の説法どうだった？聞いててつまらない？
I thought it was nice, but he watched me, waiting for me to continue. You looked so different compared to when you were in the assembly. I was surprised, in a good way.
まあ、 彼らは私の話をちゃんと聞いてくれるし、私の言ったことを無条件で受け入れようとする危うい面もあるから、真剣にならざるを得ないというか、神官として扱われている以上、民の信仰心は裏切りたくないんだ。
Saint Yune. His eyes were clear and focused, like they had been during the sermon. In those moments, he had the look and presence of a priest. So, why does he want me to kill him then? His death would have made many people deeply sad. It would be a profound loss to their faith, too.
見つめないでよ、照れるから。今日の仕事はこれでおしまい。さ、帰るよ。
Oh, very well. I'd like to know his reason. I couldn't bring myself to ask. It felt like something intensely private. Perhaps I would understand, in time, before one of us was dead. Yikes. Oh, God. The evening sun was red as a flame when we returned to his room. We could see it from the balcony, pulling down the veil of the night. I was preparing to bring his dinner when Saint Yune approached me. An errand?
そう。私の代わりに買い物をしてほしいんだ。財布はそこの棚の中。好きに使っていいよ。
Right now?
当然でしょ。明日でいいなら明日言うよ。何でもいいから、お菓子を買ってきて。
Candy. Alright. Candy. Wait, didn't he in Eltcreed's path, like, eat all of Ulrich's candy or something? Was he there? I don't remember. Candy? Saint Yune nodded. I hadn't misunderstood him.
私はどこにいても目立つからね。買いに行けば街は混乱する。だからお前に頼みたい。甘いものを食べたい気分なんだ。今日食べたいから今日買ってきて。よろしくね。
I couldn't possibly refuse. Saint Yune sprawled out on the sofa, waiting for me to complete the errand. Should I be allowed to go out alone as a criminal? Saint Yune's astonishing request made me worried for myself. But I can't refuse an order. I'll have to go. I brushed aside the unease I felt and collected the purse from the drawer. See you later.
気をつけてね。
I'd been worried that the presence of a criminal would cause unrest, but nobody's paying me any attention. They're living their lives as always. I guess this was to be expected. Most of the people didn't know me after all. Being outside gave me a sense of freedom. I concentrated on carrying out my task. Candy should be around here. I'd reached a road with several stores selling food. What kind of candy does he like? There was a variety of different kinds. I chastised myself for not asking him, but then I remembered how he had eaten breakfast. He ate everything, no matter what it was. He seemed to like it. That didn't help. I'll buy chocolate to be on the safe side. Then again, there were a variety of kinds of chocolate too. I'd bought one of every kind from the store, resulting in an astonishingly heavy bag. This is the first time I've bought so much chocolate. I hope he likes at least some of it. Now that I think about it, I have some memories of chocolate. Oh, flashback time. Father, look! They have chocolate!
あれは売り物だよ。買わなければ手に入らない。
I just assumed she was like a child. Bye. Oh yeah, she's definitely a child. What does that mean?
労働だ。人は働くことによってお金を得る。そのお金で買うんだよ。
Okay. I want to work to buy chocolate. Give me work.
弱ったな。ではこうしよう。帰ったら母さんのお手伝いをしなさい。
I will, Father. Oh, that's a cute memory. And after that, he went into the town with me and bought me chocolate. That was so long ago, but I can still remember it so clearly. It felt unreal to me that he was gone. My home isn't far from here. I could have gone if I wanted to. But I have to take the chocolate to St. Yune. The heavy bag of chocolate was making its presence known. He didn't tell me I couldn't take any detours, so I can probably go there for a little while. Here I am. I'd only been gone for a few days. The house looked exactly the same. There were no police officers and no cordon. The house looked like it always had, welcoming me and my family. I was able to soak in its familiar presence. I wonder how it looks inside. I'd only intended to look at it from the outside, but now the desire to enter rose in me. I'll go back if it's locked. I couldn't tell whether I wanted it to be locked or not, but when I found it unlocked, I was relieved. Inside, everything was as I'd left it. It was like being back in a dream I had. Mother, Father? I tried to whisper their names, half expecting them to emerge and greet me. My hopes were swallowed by silence. Blood. There was a red stain on the carpet. I bent down to touch it. The remains had been removed and most of the blood had been wiped off. Not all of it, though. Some of the carpet was still stained dark. If I had had more presence of mind back then, they'd still be alive. Perhaps they'd still be with me now. There was no use thinking about it. It just hurt so much. I need to live a good life, one they'd be proud of. Please, sleep in peace now. Anger at the culprit mingled with my grief and sadness. I need to find the culprit. It couldn't end like that. Justice had to be meted out. I don't have a lot of time. I need to find a way. I have to get back to St. Yune.
おい、そこで何をしている?
Oh, great. I was about to leave when a loud voice stopped me.
そこは空き家だ。一体何をしていた?
I know this voice. I knew what to expect when I turned around. Oh, God! I haven't seen this guy in 5,000 years! Ark.
お前、レディ。いや、今は親殺しの犯罪者か。下界へ送られたはずでは。
The town was so big, and yet I'd run into him of all people. He's not going to believe me if I deny the crime. Complex circumstances have led me to be employed as St. Yune's personal attendant. If you doubt me, make an information request at the temple.
マジかよ。犯罪者を雇うなんて、ユネ様。
Is that criticism? Are you insulting the judgment of His Holiness?
まだ何も言ってないし、セーフだろ。付き人か。まあ、その紋章を背負ってるなら本当のことなんだろうな。
I want to end this conversation as quickly as possible. Where's your partner? Shouldn't you be together?
君がいない今、警備範囲が広がってね。手分けをして巡回しているのさ。しかし、ほんといいよな、女は。結局優遇されるんだからさ。新刊の付き人か。俺は逆立ちしたってなれないだろうな。
Literally an incel. I dislike this man so much. If he wasn't going to leave, then I had to. I was about to turn around when a question popped into my head. Ark, can I ask you something?
ああ、んだよ。
It's about Finn. I heard he was discharged. But that's all I know. Do you have any idea of how he's doing right now?
知るかよ。
Wow.
あんなやつ興味全然ねえし。
Jesus.
俺は君と違って忙しい警察官様なんでね。そろそろ失礼させてもらう。じゃあな、元レディ。
Wow. There goes a loathsome man. I sighed as he disappeared into the distance. Finn, what are you doing right now? Is he doing all right? By the time I arrived back at the temple, it was dark. I hurried back to St. Yune, expecting him to be angry at my delay. Excuse me. I'm sorry that it took so long. I put the bag of chocolate on the table and looked at Saint Yune.
驚いた。本当に買ってきたんだ。
Surprised? Had Saint Yune expected me to abandon my duty? Not his duty. Whoops. I'm disappointed. Yikes. I keep my promises, or this is easy. I keep my promises. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I said I'd buy you candies, so I did.
うん。だから驚いてるんだ。
Well, okay.
監視なしで新会員の外へ出られたんだ。お前は逃げることもできたはず。なのにのこのこと帰ってくるからびっくりした。
Oh, okay. He was right. I'd been able to go into town without any restrictions. On the way, I'd run into Ark, but that had just been my own bad luck. Could I have escaped? But where would I have gone? Even if I could have hidden myself somewhere, I was still a criminal. In fact, running away would have added to my crimes. This country is small. I couldn't have run away for long. Besides, running away would have been an admission of guilt. I wasn't going to do that.
ま、戻ってきてくれてよかったよ。面倒事を避けられたし、お菓子も食べられる。あ、チョコレートがたくさん。
Don't you like it?
うん、結構好き。でも、こんなに食べたことはないな。へえ、こんなに種類があるんだ。
I bought one of each kind that the store had. Saint Yune picked up a small piece of chocolate wrapped in silver paper and bit off a chunk.
私は体が弱くてね。熱を出した時、決まって家族がホットミルクを作ってくれたんだ。
My dad used to do that, and it made me literally sick. I hate milk. Like, I don't drink milk by the glass, unlike my SO who decides to drink milk by the glass. But back in my childhood, my dad used to literally be like, here, have some hot milk. And it was just like the worst thing in the world. I don't know. I think that's something that is like, I don't know. A lot of people joke saying that old people drink hot milk or something. But as a child, oh, I cannot ever drink anything, like any warm milk ever again. I guess we're gonna stop here on my horrible hot milk story. I mean, I'm glad, I guess, like, I can understand why Yune was, like, I don't know, doubting us and stuff. Like, he really thought that we were gonna just, like, up and leave. And, like, I don't know why Archibald, or whatever his face is, like, shows up all the time. Or not all the time. He only showed up once, and it's in this. Like, and he has his own, like, character and face. So that must mean he's a very, like, I don't know, he's part of the plot, right? I don't know. I don't like him. I feel like he can go in the trash, like, along with everybody else, including Glissade. But, I don't know. We'll see. Next episode, we'll see if old stupid Arc Face comes back. And we'll hear more about his hot milk story. I don't know. Maybe he'll be done with it, but we'll see.